What's up, everybody? In today's video, we are going to be discussing what to do when you have a credit mismatch on your file. If you don't know who I am, my name is Kenny Johnson. I am the owner of Kenny Johnson University. We are a credit repair company here based in Montreal, Quebec, and we service Canadians in every province. So if you need help, you can just send us an email, info@kennyjohnsonuniversity.com. And without further ado, let's get the video started. So if you have a credit mismatch on your credit profile, then that's something that you're going to want to address immediately because this could have a negative impact or it can just have or result in a bunch of different items on your credit report that you do not want. Now, to be clear, what a credit mismatch is when someone else's items are reporting to your credit report. Now, this is very common amongst those that have common names. So for example, my name is Kenny. So that is not a very unique name. So I could possibly have someone else's information on my credit report, which is why it's extremely important that you're constantly checking your credit profile to ensure that all the accounts that are reporting there belong to you. And if you do not, or if you do recognize accounts that do not belong to you, you need to address those immediately. Now, in certain cultures, we have certain names that are very common. So you could have, let's just say Muhammad. That's a name that I see a lot that can be used with multiple people, right? And so this can usually result in situations where people have that same name, their information can be crossed over. And the problem that I've realized with this is that a lot of people don't have the best credit, right? And so if you're someone that you're extremely responsible, and then you have this random collection of company showing up on your credit report, then this could be a problem, and you need to make sure you address that. And furthermore, it can end up in a situation to where collection companies are not contacting you, accusing you of being this individual that you don't even know. And furthermore, you're not that person, right? And so that's why there's so many laws out there that protect you as a consumer. And the first one that we always want to leverage is the Consumer Protection Act. So every province has its own Consumer Protection Act, and they differ in their coding, but they pretty much say the same thing across the board. And at the end of the day, what that is that if a collection company is calling you, contacting you, harassing you about debt, then they need to be able to provide you with proof of debt. So that's that original signed contract you sign with that original creditor. Now, because this actually is not your account, when they provide you with that proof of debt, if they're even able to or capable of doing so, you'll see that that is not your signature. Maybe even the ID that they have on file does not belong to you, but you just want to get that documentation and prove that this is not yours. Furthermore, you can escalate things, go directly to Equifax and TransUnion, let them know about the situation. And we always want to make sure that we're disputing directly with letter mail, register mail. That way we have everything in writing. And we just send that stuff straight over to the credit bureaus, straight over to the collection company, dispute information, and get it removed. I'll also see a bunch of inquiries that pop up on clients' credit reports that they've never even applied for. Very easy to fix, very easy to dispute. You just need to dispute it, get rid of it, dispute it off of your credit report, and clean that information up. You also want to check the personal information section. So typically when you go into your credit report, whether that's Equifax or TransUnion, or you're using a third-party platform like Credit Karma, ClearScore, or Borrowwell, you're going to see that's usually the first piece of information that you see once you go into your credit report. So it'll at first glance, it'll have your first name, your last name, and maybe even your address. But most platforms, they're going to have an option for you to click on See More. So when you click on See More, you're going to see that the credit bureaus actually contain a lot of your information. So you're going to see your name. You may even see multiple names. I've seen situations to where they have different types of spellings for your name, right? And that's information that you want to clear up because your name, let's just say my name is Kenny again, right? And they add an extra N to that name. I'm going to want to make sure that they fix that because, again, I don't want anyone else's information popping up on my credit report. It needs to report exactly how I have it showing on my IDs, right? So whatever you have on your ID, that's what you want to reflect on your credit report. Because again, when you go to dispute, that's the information that's going to be provided to the credit bureaus as your IDs because you need to submit that information. So you need to be able to provide that to the credit bureaus when you submit a dispute, your IDs. They're going to see that that information does not match. It's the same thing with your address. Now, with addresses, is a bit different, and the reason why I say it's a bit different is because you can have multiple addresses which are true, right? So let's just say I lived at a previous address to where I'm currently living at now. That's actually accurate information. That's allowed to be on my credit report. But an address that I've never lived at, that's a huge red flag. And that's something that I'm going to want to report, dispute, and get removed off of my credit report. Addresses are actually one of the more important factors on your personal information because that's usually what ties a lot of accounts that you have on your credit report to your credit report. So if you see an address that you don't recognize, that you've never lived at, then that's something you want to look into, dispute that information as well. And then we have the phone numbers. So you're probably going to notice usually TransUnion is famous for this mistake. Usually the phone numbers on file are never correct, and no one knows why. No one has the answers as to why too. I don't usually see this as a main priority. It's something that you would want to fix right away. But if you're a perfectionist, if that's something that you want to make sure everything is correctly done, then also address the phone numbers as well, right? Now, as we all may know, usually how the credit bureaus get your information in the first place is one, when you submit that application, you fill out that application, you send it over to the company. So let's say I apply with CIBC, I send that application over to CIBC, they submit that information and they send it over to the credit bureaus. Okay, so they usually get the information directly from yourself, right? So make sure your personal information is correctly inputted when you're filling out applications because a lot of mistakes happen there as well. But also make sure you contact and you communicate with your banks. Ensure that your personal information there is correct as well because they're constantly reporting information to the credit bureaus also. So there's so many ways that your personal information can be incorrect or wrong, right? Either you may have made a mistake on the application, a bank had misreported your information to the credit bureaus. There's so many different ways, which is why it's so important that you're constantly checking your credit report, constantly checking it. And I always recommend checking it once a month. Okay, but if you recognize accounts that do not belong to you, you need to dispute directly with Equifax, TransUnion directly. You can take it a step further, contact the creditor that's reporting the account because they're the ones that report that information. You can contact them directly, get that information fixed, have it updated, make sure your credit profile is clean, and until next time, peace.